this episode.
Cheers.
Oh. Double jab, triple jab, punch and another right hook from Carruth. Two magnificent punches. 4 to Carruth and 3 to Hernandez. Carruth is in the lead. And Carruth throws in 2 hammered tongue right hand. And Carruth beats him on the inside as the exchange of bout of good infighting. It's 8 apiece. It's all to fight for. Carruth tags him. This is brilliant stuff by the Irish champion. Both in both hands. A left hand, a right hand, another right hand. Sweet, accurate, big long hands going, and the bell goes as they end up exchanging right hands, and Ashton Carruth comes in to embrace his son.
And you know,
Michael Carruth is the champion of the Olympic Games. Michael Carruth is the champion, the champion, the champion.
Hi Michael, welcome to Burn Interviews. This is episode 18. My name is Ashton.
And my name is Preston.
What's the story?
Can you tell us about your childhood growing up in Drimnagh?
Firstly, I'm not from Drimnagh. I'm from Green Hills, right? So I boxed for Drimnagh. Unfortunately, in Green Hills, I started boxing when I was 7 years old with my dad and my 2 older brothers, Martin and William. They are my identical triplets. Okay, so we started when we were 7 years old in Green Hills Boxing Club, and unfortunately about 2, maybe 3 years later, it was vandalised, the premises our boxing club was. So we temporarily went down to Drimnagh Boxing Club in 1979, and this was only supposed to be on a temporary basis till our own boxing club got reformed and rebuilt. But it kept going on, and you start befriending the boxers in the boxing club, and then you're drawn against them in championship fights like leagues or county Dublin like you've been in, and all of a sudden you're supposed to be beating up your mates, and we didn't want that. So we made a decision to say to my dad that we want to join Drimnagh Boxing Club, and he said, "What about me?" And I said, "Well, you can join as well." I said, "Yeah." So we joined in 1980, I think it was, Drimnagh Boxing Club. So we had a mixture of Green Hills and Drimnagh. But then all of a sudden, Drimnagh became a huge force because Green Hills Boxing Club amalgamated with Drimnagh Boxing Club. And I suppose they've seen the light as well in relation to how good of a coach my father was. And within 3 years, my dad was made head coach at Drimnagh Boxing Club. So we just escalated from there, and certainly in the 80s and obviously the early 90s, Drimnagh was a boxing club that you didn't want to get matched against, you know. So because there was so much competition, there was so much good sparring, and you know, I'd come into a training session one day and be looking at Paul's here, Tommy's here, Johnny's here, and well, little did I realise they were saying the same thing as well. Mick's here, so we had that much competition, and we pushed one another on. So going up in that era, boxing was superb for us, and it got us where we were today. Good question.
Did anyone encourage you to do boxing?
It was one of those things. My father was a coach, as I said, at Green Hills Boxing Club, and my dad met my mother, believe it or not, through boxing. My uncle Martin was the first ever light middleweight champion of Ireland in 1961 or 51, I can't remember. And he actually boxed for Francis Key. You know Usher Key down the road here?
Yeah.
He actually boxed for there. So my late grandfather, my mum's father, he was the chairman of Usher Boxing Club, St Francis Boxing Club, and he never really liked me dad. So it was one of those things. So that's how I really got into boxing, because my uncle, as I said, was this. He won an elite championship, a senior championship, and winning an elite senior championship is the biggest honour you can win in Irish boxing. And you've won a couple of titles, but when you get your first seniors or your first elites, it's going to be one of the best days of your life. You know, you lived up to this kind of rivalry as well. So with that's how we kind of got involved with it, because of my late uncle. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. But you know, when they say never meet your heroes, they only let you down. He was my hero, and he never let me down once. So that's a myth. You know? Next one.
What age were you when you competed in your first All-Ireland final, and how did you get on? And how did you feel?
First of all, I got there by 1, which was 11 years old. I got beaten in the final on a split decision against a guy from the north. I'm not going to tell you a word of a lie. I cried my eyes out after, you know. And it was a tight decision. Probably should have got it, but didn't. And it was one of the biggest learning curves for me as well, because sometimes you expect that you're going to go in and just win these things. And I then went on and won the next 5 of the 6, and certainly losing that first one pushed me harder and harder to get to there, because I wanted to be All-Ireland champion.
Yeah.
Did you train in Trimmer Boxing Club?
Did I train there?
Yeah.
And I'm going there after this, doing a transition after now. Yeah, Trimmer was, since I was, how old were we? 1980, we were about 10, 11 years old when we moved into Trimmer. But obviously been training since we were 7 in Green Hills. And yeah, Trimmer has been my club ever since. I'm now head coach of Trimmer Boxing Club. So it's a thing that my father would have wanted us to continue, and 2 of my other brothers, William and Martin, my 2 triplet brothers, are coaches there as well. My brother Fergal is the chairman of the club. So we have our family is steeped with Trimmer Boxing Club. So we would hope to think that when we retire from the sport, it will continue to our children and our grandchildren, whichever way that goes.
Yeah. Can you remember your amateur record?
My amateur record? Have a clue, So don't forget, before I hit 15, I probably had about 250 fights, So you don't have that now in this day and age. We were fighting every weekend, every second weekend. Not only just fighting, we were doing exhibitions as well, like you do quite a lot now. So yeah, I wouldn't have a clue. I know my international career is a good one. I boxed 51 times for Ireland, and I won 44. So I've a pretty good record for Ireland. So, but in relation to my earlier years as well, they never recorded them sometimes as well when we were boxing. Now everything is a little bit more legal and a little bit more organised. So I would say probably I've been in the region between 300 and 400 amateur fights. I'm not joking there. We just kept going. So.
Did you ever spy that?
Sorry?
Did you ever spy that when you were training?
Fight me, Dad?
Yeah, spar.
Spar? No, I can't hit Dad. I can't hit the coach. I had enough time hitting my brothers. So, and that was the one thing. I always had 2 great sparring partners in Martin and William, because. And you've got brothers here. You've got brothers? No, she's there.
Yeah.
And what's the one thing our brothers do? Is have rivalry, don't you? He's always have rivalry. And you always want to get on top. You want to be the top boy. So with Martin and William, they were always my toughest spars, because the 2 of them wouldn't give in until my skill and my fitness started, getting the better of the 2 of them. And but my dad had to put us out of the ring so many times because we were killing one of them. I mean, killing one of them just to make sure you got the bragging rights later on that night. You know what I mean? But as I said, you couldn't get 2 better sparring partners than them 2.
At this stage in your life, did you feel that you might have a good chance of winning an Olympic medal?
All my life I thought I was going to win an Olympic gold medal. I was 7 years old when I had my first contest in Green Hills Boxing Club. I boxed a guy called Anthony Daly from the Nor Boxing Club. I actually made the fight because I started talking to him. I said, "What do you?" He says, "I'm 9 or 10." He said, "So am I." I said, "What way are you?" Sam White. "No fights, no fight." "Fight me," I said to him. So he was put under the ability to arrest to fight me, so he did. And I went in and I won. And when I came back to the corner, I gave my dad a hug, and I said to my dad, "I'm going to win the Olympic Games." I was 7 years old, sorry, I was 7. And he said, "What?" I said, "I'm going to win the Olympics." And being him, the old philosopher that he was, he says, "Make me a promise," he says. I said, "I promise you I'll win the Olympic Games," he says. So all my life I had that stupid promise I made to him. I said, "What the hell am I doing here?" You know what I mean? So I went to my first Olympic Games in 1988 in Seoul, Korea, and I got beaten in my second fight, and I was devastated. And I got it wrong, I completely got it wrong. I made the weight wrong, and the fitness was there, but when you make the weight wrong, you know as a boxer, there's nothing left in the tank, and I got it wrong. I had to wait a long time, 4 years, an awful long time to correct something, and fortunately 4 years later I won the Olympic Games. And my dad said to me when I came back to the corner, and gave me a hug, and he says, "Thanks for keeping your promise," he says to me, and that was one of the best moments of my life. So.
Was it hard cutting weight, especially for the Olympics? And
Weight was always a problem with me. I've got one of those type of bodies that I retain fluid, and but when my first Olympic Games was tough with making my second Olympic Games. I was brilliant. I was also so easy on the weight. It was unbelievable. You could train with shorts and vest on rather than putting a whole load of gear on. So everything was relaxed. I was a little bit older as well. I was 25 when I went to my second Olympic Games. So when I was a boy going to the first Olympics, but I was certainly a man going to the second Olympics. And my son adaptees as well. When you're 18, 19, or 20, you all think you're men. You're still boys. When you hit 25, 26, you truly become men. You get that man strength, and that's what I got. So with that, making the weight was always an issue with me on my boxing weight. But like I would say, 95% of boxers are the same. You know, the ones who say they're good on the weight are probably the biggest liars out there. You know what I mean? So, but if you make your weight right, you have a better chance of winning.
In 1989, you won a bronze medal at the World Championships in Moscow. Were you disappointed or were you well beaten?
Well beaten, right. That medal there, winning the 89 World Bronze medal, gave me a belief in myself that I can compete with the best in the world. I had a sad 2 months before that. I lost my nephew. He was 8 years old and he drowned in Blessing Lakes. And I had to go into training camp straight after his funeral. And it was one of those kind of, again, motivations as well that I wanted to get my family a little bit of laughter in their eyes and in their face and everything else. And so I pushed myself so hard for the 89 games. And I won my first fight easily against, I think it was a French guy. And then my second fight I won easily, and then I was up against Skipper Kelp from America for my third fight. And I went and lost the first round. And Mickey Hawkins, do you know Mickey Hawkins from Holy Trinity Boxing Club? Mickey's one of the most famous coaches in Ireland, and Mickey's kind of subtle in the corner. He'll tell you we're blown this, and he basically gave me a slap in the face. He says, you're blown this. He says, yeah. So I went out and rallied the second round, won the second round, won the third round easy, and won the bronze medal. Now winning the medal was a huge thing for me as well, because it was a thing that I felt that I could, you know, I brought a little bit of happiness to the family and things like that. But more importantly, it was I can compete with the best in the world. That medal was the only medal any Westerner, now I'm going to say Western Europe, won at that medal. All the rest were from the East, or Cuba, or America. Nobody else from the West of Europe won a medal, a bronze medal, silver or gold, from the West of Europe. You know, so to me that was, you know, it was a huge achievement. I got beaten in the semi-final against a guy called Andre Zotto. Crazy score. It was 18 points to 1. They brought out the new computer score, and you know when they used to do red, blue, red, get the point. And I lost 18-1, and I was so annoyed with myself about 18-1. I knew I'd lost the fight, but not in that extreme margin. So I came back to my dad, and the first thing I said to him, I said, I never lost 18-1. And he turned around to all my burst. And I tell you, he'd say that, he wouldn't celebrate his bronze medal. I didn't lose that score. And I said, only him and me know what score that and how that fight went, I said. I met that guy in the quarter-final in the Olympic Games.
You beat him?
I dismantled him. So 18-1 was a little bit of a farce. But you're fighting in Russia, you're against the East Europe again. They were making sure that most of the Eastern European boxers get to the semi-finals or finals. And they get rid of all the rest of us. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, again, boxing, I'm not saying it's corrupt, but what it is the Eastern Bloc tend to get favourable draws into the Western Europe. And I've always said that we should split. We should split away from the whole lot of them and have form our own union, but it remains to be said.
How many fights did you have in 1992 for the Olympics?
1992, I had 13 fights in 1992. Okay. In the Olympic Games, I had 4 fights. So what I had at our national championships on, they were on in January, early January, and do you know who Billy Walsh is?
No.
Billy Walsh is the head coach of Irish boxing for best part of 10 years, yeah. And Billy now is the head coach of USA boxing. And Billy is one of my best friends in boxing, and we had a bit of a rivalry the last 2 or 3 years of his career as a boxer and me going on to winning Barcelona. So Billy beat me in the 91 final. I beat him in the 92 final. And I went on and qualified for the Olympics and obviously done what I done. But I had 13 fights that year from the January to the nearly till April, I think it was, and then April, boxing took a back seat in my life for once. I got married in April, and it didn't take too much of a back seat because I wasn't allowed to go on a honeymoon. I had to go into training camp for Barcelona. So, but what it was is I qualified in '92 after fighting 13 fights, and then I went into the Olympic Games and had another 4 fights. So I think it's probably the best way to do the qualifiers is to do it a year of the Olympic Games, rather than, if you looked at Paddy Barnes and Michael Carruth a few years ago, they qualified 18 months before the Olympic Games. It's very hard to keep your weight first, your motivation second, you know, and then getting into camps and what have you. So with that, I think it's a lesson that should be learned. I think we should do all the qualifiers the year of the Olympic Games. And you know, you've got fight fitness, you've got fight sharpness, and I had that in abundance. I went into Barcelona saying I had a good chance of winning a medal here because I was at my absolute best, weight-wise and mind-wise. Any questions have you got here? No? This is the worst night I shop. No?
How did you feel on the morning of the Olympic final? Were you excited or nervous?
A little bit of both. Yeah, you have to be a little bit of both. I got into a kind of crazy routine in Barcelona. I was eating the same food all the time, and boxers tend to have that kind of superstitious thing. I packed my bag exactly the same way as the night before, the fight before. All of a sudden I was wearing not that I'm a smelly git, but I was wearing the same clothes. I made sure I got them cleaned every time before I went to the next fight, so I was wearing my kind of shorts and an Irish red vest, believe it or not, and all of a sudden I realised that I put my washing into the washing the night before, and I never realised I had to get them dried. So all of a sudden panic starts setting into me because, again, if it's working, don't try to fix it, you know. So I got to the laundry and somebody had already dried it for me. So we headed into a better place. Getting to the Olympic final, getting to the Olympic venue was nerve-wracking, you know, because the Irish just came from everywhere. And Wayne McCullough was in the fight probably about an hour before my fight. And Wayne was boxing the Cuban as well, and Wayne got kind of roasted in the first 2 rounds and came back really, really well in the last round, like we knew he would. And I just simply said to myself, in the sense that his best could be my worst, I said, you know. And when I seen him pushing the Cuban back in that last round, I said, my dad always used to say, they've only got 2 arms, you've only got 2 legs, same as you, he says, you know. So with that, nerves were there, nerves are always there, you know. Everywhere you looked in the dressing room area, there was Cubans. I think they had 9 in the final, and didn't they have 11 boxers? So everywhere you looked to see the Cuban, you know, or Cuban coach, you know, because they had them all over the place. And I went into a good place in my head. I went in a good place in my head. I said, right, he's expected to beat me, I'm not expected to beat him. And he kind of fell into my trap a little bit, so we got the tactics right.
Yeah. Did you wear the same boxes for every fight?
The same shorts, my boxing shorts were white, yeah, Irish shorts, same short, same vest. I didn't change my vest. See, when you box Ryan, you obviously get a vest every time. And by the way, the only one, because they only gave me 4 vests, you know, in Barcelona, and I had 5 fights, you know what I mean? So they owe me a vest, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I did. I got them cleaned and washed them all at the same time. It's superstition again. I suppose you might have something like that as well, do you?
Yeah.
Do you have to put your left bandage on first, or your right bandage on, or do you have that like that? So
same clothes.
So I'm pretty much the same. Do my left hand before my right hand. It's a team boxers do. You know? I suppose most sports people do as well. So
when the fight ended, what were your thoughts? Do you think you had won?
definitely. Did you not see the video?
Yeah, I did.
Right. I knew going back to the corner. You know by a boxer's face as well. We know we've won the fight. You know when you've lost the fight. You know his corner saw this, and we were waiting for this thing. But then of course the referee has to put your hand up, you know, and you know, I'm praying to the gods, and I don't know if you see it in the video in the whole 9 yards, and I'm praying to my little mate up there as well to give me a hand, and all of a sudden my dad said, now if you don't get it, I know, what do you mean if I don't get it? I'm not winning that. He says, oh, if you don't get it, I'll be crying like a baby, you know. So I said, okay. But then I kind of rehearsed the night before if I did win what I was going to do. And that kind of went out the window. And normally when the referee gives your arm there, Normally when a referee, you've won a fight, referee has a good grip of you like this, right? And this fella had me like that, you know what I mean? And I'm going, put my arm down, and make sure you're lifting this arm, I said. So long and behold, they waffled it off in Spanish and campeón, da 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 da. And I got to about there with my hands. You've probably seen the jump, did you? Should have won the high jump as well, shouldn't I? So, and I just went ballistic. I was mad, and it was not rehearsed. And I'm only glad that the ropes were there because I would have killed myself. And then my dad got me calm it down. You know what I mean? Because my dad always was a believer. If you win, you don't parade like a peacock. If you lose, you don't cry like a baby. You know. But I was allowed on that one just to go a little bit crazy. It was the greatest prize ever. You know. So, and the Olympic Games, Olympic gold medal is the greatest prize ever for boxers and other athletes.
How does it feel to be the only man, along with Katie Taylor, to have won a gold medal
She's not
for
a man,
Ireland in the Olympics, considering all the great boxers who represented Ireland?
Listen, we've had very, very close ones over the years. Fred Teague in particular in 1956, and I watched that fight, and Fred Teague without question won that final. He should have been the first, but that's boxing for you again. You have to be lucky in all aspects, and that's what I have. I have that thing called first. You can't beat first. You know, you can be second or third, but you can't beat first. So it's one of those things. But again, it's a thing I don't want to carry with me for the next, hopefully, 40 or 50 years of my life, that nobody else wins an Olympic gold medal. Katie's done it. Kelly Harrington is going to have a great chance. She's not too far from here, Kelly. And Kelly's going to have a great chance of winning a gold medal for Ireland for the female team.
Sean Rose.
What?
Sean Rose is going to win.
Good dude, good lad. But with that, I've got that honour of being the first. I don't want to be the last. I want us to start kicking in now and start winning medals. And particularly, let's get back on the medal podium in Tokyo. Our last Olympics didn't go too well for us, so we can get some type of medal. Get us back to where we belong. Irish boxing is the #1 sport in Olympic Games.
As a coach, do you coach in the...
I coach during the boxing club.
Do you know at the Olympics? Do you go there?
Sorry?
Do you go to the Olympics? And...
I won't go as coach. I just train my own club. Zora Antier is the head coach of Irish boxing. He's got John Conlon, he's got Owen Fluck and Deemer. I can't think of Deemer's second name. Well, I can't pronounce it. So we've a good selection of coaches, but you know, the hardest thing about Olympic Games now is actually qualifying for them. Because you know, most of them you go away to these countries, and I'm not blaming Russia, but Russia tends to be the worst of them all. You know, and you get any of these qualifiers in Russia or in and around the countries of Russia, they're all voting for one another, they're all giving the pitch for one another. So it's going to be, I always said, it's the toughest part of the Olympics is getting there. You know, the easiest part being there, believe it or not. You know.
How did your life change after the gold medal? Were there some positives and negatives?
It was, well, I suppose how it changed was, I call it microwave fame, because it's instant, and all of a sudden, you're there, you're expected to, you know, to be able to do interviews, you're expected to, you know, to just adapt to this lifestyle, you know. I was kind of lucky as well that I had two brothers who were exact same as me, you know. So if we went anywhere, people would say, which one's Michael? And we'd go like that, you know. And or we came to sign an autograph like that, the two boys would give a hand. And but it was one of those things, you know. I come from a good family. I come from 10 children. If you get beyond your pay grade, as they say, you're put back into your category. And to me, it was always just another fight. It's a great fight. It was my best ever. But it was a thing that I didn't expect it to change my life, believe it or not. You know, when I came back from Moscow 3 years earlier with the bronze medal, and I thought, you know, they might get me a car or do something. I'm still cycling a bike down the road 3 years later in 1992. You know, so things did change a little bit for me. Obviously, you get that fame that you're on the Late Show and people are looking for you to open shops or do that, and they give you cars and all that. But then it's a temporary thing. It goes away. You know what I mean? So I never really expected it to really change my life.
Was there cameras and all when you come out of the airport?
Was it? The place was packed. We got in, I think, about 1:10 in the morning on a Monday. It was a Monday morning, and there was something like 50,000-60,000 people at the airport waiting to greet us. You know? And then when we were brought to the hotel in Ballsbridge, when we were going down the airport road towards town, on both sides it was absolutely packed. Now this was 1 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't believe it. And then they done a parade around Dublin the next morning, which was around 500,000 people at it. So it was crazy. And I was just, this is all from me and Wayne. We couldn't believe it because obviously we won a silver medal as well as a gold medal that year as well with Wayne McCullough from Belfast. And it was it was shock, and it still is when I look at it.
Who was your toughest opponent in your career?
Paul Quinn. Now, in my whole career, my toughest opponent would probably have been. My toughest fight was the Olympic final.
Yeah.
Toughest opponent was Billy Walsh. Billy was my mate, and we were friends, and we had to do battle with one another. And the winner was going to get the rewards, and the loser would probably retire. And so that was tough. Billy was. He wasn't the toughest fighter I ever boxed. The Cuban, without question, was the toughest fighter I ever boxed. He had such an advantage on me as well. I'm 5'7" on my tippy toes. He's 6'3". He was world champion, Pan American champion. I'd won everything. I think he even won the lotto, did he? And he was expected. He was the overall favourite to win that title, and they bet on the wrong horse that day. That's what my dad always said. He's bet on the wrong horse. Because there's no way Michael was going to give in on this one. So he, without question, probably one on this toughest one, hardest one to fight was Billy Walsh.
Did you come back across Juan Hernandez in your professional career?
He didn't go pro. I met him. He boxed in Dublin a few months later. I think it was around just before the Christmas. In the World Cup, and he was fighting Andres, the guy who I boxed in the quarter-final, and I'm doing commentary at the ringside, and these two are looking down at me, and I'm allowed to say this one, I'm pissing myself laughing. I looked at the two of them, this could beat the two of you, and the two of them looking down, how do we let that little fella beat the two of us, he sent me a friend request after 20 years on Facebook. And I sent him back to him and said, you didn't want to be my mate 20 years ago. I said to him, but he got away from Cuba. He's living in California, so he's on Facebook. So he sends the odd message. We'll send one another happy birthday request and things like that. And you can obviously he speaks Spanish, so he's not the greatest English speaking. So you can get it. That's the beauty about Facebook as well. Eventually you can translate it, So. That's the only kind of contact I have on him. He wants to hit me again, I think. So I wasn't allowed to go to Cuba after I beat him. How many more have we got?
What job did you have outside in your boxing career?
Sorry?
What job did you have?
What job?
Did you have outside in your boxing career?
Job? Right, well, we're boxing with Paul. We're working in, prior to that, I owned a couple of shops with my brother Martin, flooring shops. Carpet shops and wooden shops, but we got out in time. The big bang came in 97, was it? 97, 2007, whatever it was. And we sold them onwards to a bigger company. So basically I've been working with, we've been in this job now 10 years now, isn't it? About 10, going on 10. So we bring boxing to the community rather than going out and looking for boxers, So it's been a great success. It was only supposed to go on for 2 years, with maybe a third year, and then we're onto our maybe 11th year. We're going to be going on to soon. So it's great teaching kids boxing. It's one of the most disciplined sports out there. It's one of those sports as well that you learn manners from, and you learn respect for elders. You might always think they're wrong, and whenever he says he's right, okay, now she says she's right. Use that. Till you grow up and you become adults, you'll understand that. So with that, it gives it's a great sport for just pure discipline.
We know you are part of triplets. Do you sometimes confuse your brothers with you?
No, you know Martin straight away. You know Martin as well, don't you? The grumpy one, he's the grumpy one. And William's obviously William. But I would look at pictures over the years, like earlier on pictures when you're looking at albums and things like that, and you're going, which one's me, Because as kids we were very, As babies, obviously, you couldn't tell apart, but when we got a little bit older, then we got our own identities, you know what I mean? So I got my own haircut and they all followed it, you know what I mean? So like that, but and again, as I say, being triplets, you know, you always had two mates to play with, or always someone to fight, you know what I mean? So it was one of those things, so, but I don't think I had another 7 siblings as well, so they were part of my life as much.
Who was your favourite boxer of all time and why?
My favourite boxer of all time was Marvin Hagler. Do you remember him?
No.
Marvin Hagler. And he boxed a guy called Sugar Ray Leonard, and it was a robbery. Paul would probably think Leonard, Ray Leonard was one of the greatest fighters of all time as well, and him fighting Hagler. Hagler to me was, he epitomised what I wanted to be as well. He was a professional boxer, he was a southpaw, he was a bit of a puncher, a bit of a boxer, and he dismantled most people he did, and he was a guy that I looked up to so much, and he was a true champion as well. When he retired from boxing, he never came back. And if you can't do it the first time, don't try it the second time. And that's why I always believe, you know, if you're going to retire from boxing, get out of it, retire and don't come back. Some of these guys keep coming back and they get hurt, you know, or they get beaten. How many people will you ever see retiring from their career undefeated? You know, not too many. Who was it, Rocky Marciano? The only one now, isn't he? Mayweather is the only one now. So with that, again, this is where with Katie Taylor as well. I'd love Katie to retire now and give it up. She's undisputed champion of the world. You can't go any bigger and better than that. The only way now is that way, you know. So I think she should get out of that argument with your woman and just say, okay, it was a tight fight and retire, but I believe they are going to fight one another as well, and I hope it goes well for her as well. You need a bit of luck in boxing. I still haven't seen the Katie fight, so I'm going to get a look at it myself. So, but with that as well, opinions are opinions. You see red, you see blue. Red wins or blue wins, you know, it doesn't matter. So with that, it's just one of those things.
What advice would you give to any of us who are boxing and would like to follow your footsteps?
Make a promise to yourself, okay? Make a promise to yourself that you're going to give it everything you have. And this implies that football, tennis, whatever you play, rugby, golf, make a promise to yourself that you're going to be the best you can be. And that's what I've done. I made a promise to obviously my father, but I made a promise to myself that sitting down in the chair, I have to go for a run, go for the run. It's going to take you 20, 30 minutes, you know. You'll feel worse sitting down afterwards and then you didn't go for the run. Okay? So make a promise to yourself that you're going to be the best you can be. Make a promise to yourself that you're going to do your homework first before you do the training. Okay? Because that's what our rule was in the house. We had to come home, get our homework done, get down to the club, get refueled and into bed, and that was it. So being a top boxer, there's so much sacrifices you have to do. There's so much you have to just, you know, you visualise when I was 16 years old, 17 years old, when I was boxing and getting ready for these championships. And my two brothers, Martin and William, are going out because they'd finished boxing at this stage. 17, 18, they're still going out, you know, mostly to the pub them too, you know. And here's me in on a Friday night, sitting in watching the Late Late Show with my mum and dad. It's sacrifice, you know, but I had a vision where I wanted to be. And sometimes you have to be that selfish little kid as well, you know. You have to do it for yourself. But if you make that promise to yourself, this is what I'm going to do. Make out a little plan for yourself, what you're going to do. This is what I have to hit now. These are the titles I want to get. And eventually you'll get them if you put the work in. If you don't, it won't happen, you know. So if that's a bit of advice I can give you, is make a promise to yourself.
Thanks for the interview, Michael. It was really good.
Thank you. How much am I getting paid for it? Not getting paid? No. Right, have any of you ever seen this thing before?
Yeah.
This is, who else? Paul normally does a little spiel on this one. Do you want to do your spiel on this one, Paul? Come on. That's a little torch, okay? I was going through Facebook the other day. Did you see some of the... You're not really on Facebook here. And I had a picture here, and Wayne McCullough, you know Wayne McCullough? Wayne finished, got the silver medal in 1992 and became a world professional champion after this, and we're holding the picture, and I haven't seen the picture in a while, and he gave me a big smacker on the top of the head, you know? And there standing behind us was a guy called Sebastian Crowe. He wouldn't know. Sebastian Coe is probably one of the greatest middle distance runners ever. And I mean ever. He'd won everything, Olympic gold, worlds, you name it. And here he is laughing behind the two of us with this, you know what I mean? But what such an honour it was holding an Olympic torch back in 2012, wasn't it? 12. Yeah, 12 it was. So what was, fortunate enough, the flame was brought to Ireland because England, Great Britain had the Olympic Games. So you see all these holes that's in that, that's the amount of people who ran with the torch. Okay, there's 3 sides to this torch as well. It was the 3rd time London had held the Olympic Games. So it'd probably be the nearest Olympic Games we get to Ireland sometime. So it was a great honour for me to run with the torch. And yes, it does still work. You see that little hole there? I have a key there, there's a bit of gas still left in it. I light it on 2 occasions every year, on my dad's birthday and a little bit on Christmas, you know? So I have to try to get some more gas into it. So with that, it was one of the best honours ever, holding and running with the Olympic torch. So that's not what I hit Paul with it if you can, you know? And there's my Olympic gold medal.
The real one.
The real one.
No, the fake one.
Paul, that's the false one, right? Olympic gold. Okay. So what do you dream about? Anybody ever hold an Olympic gold medal?
Yes.
Well, you're going to know in a few minutes, right? So what I'm going to ask you to do, see the way it's getting a little bit old? It's been dropped a few times by people. I heard they're taking solid food now afterwards, you know, so, but with that, the ribbon is getting a little bit old, okay? It is 27 years old now, the medal. So, if that ribbon comes out of that medal, it won't go back in. So, if you're going to hold the medal, hold it by the medal and not by the ribbon. Is that okay?
Yeah.
You can make a wish on an Olympic gold medal,
No.
but you cannot wish for money, okay? You can wish your ma wins a lot, it's not you, okay? So, or your dad, you know? So, I'm going to get used to it to pass around there, right? Hold it and have a look at it. Any more questions from the floor? There's one.
What's the best kid boxer now?
At the moment, the best boxer I know at the moment, there's 2 or 3 now. You have to go, O'Donoghue from Athy, Michael O'Donoghue. He is one hell of a fighter. Young Faulkner from Cork is one hell of a fighter. And you have to go, I'm going to go to my own boxing club.
Mike's only beat Russia, didn't he, in the Europeans in the semis.
I'm going to go Kai Griffin from Drimnagh and Martin Collins from Drimnagh. And they were going to be definite stars in the future. Taylor Gurney from Drimnagh as well won a bronze medal last week at the European Championships. And it should have been gold, you know? Sean Roach is a good kid. You don't know, are you? Yeah, Sean's a good boxer. He's not as good as Dembo. Yeah, I was going to show mine during the fight.